Traveling Asia as a gluten-free eater, it's totally possible, even on a budget. Here's how I survive without spending a fortune and without getting glutened. Hi, I'm Kath from the Real Travel Family. I'm gluten intolerant and I've been traveling Europe, Southeast Asia, Australia, and now India for the last 18 months. Although I'm not celiac, I do find that gluten really irritates my stomach and I do have a lot of problems afterwards. So I try and avoid it whenever I can. Having said that, if I do accidentally eat some gluten, it's not the end of the world for me. It's just an uncomfortable day or two. But obviously I want to avoid that as much as I can. So over the last year and a half, I have learned what's safe, what's risky, how to order gluten-free food even through a language barrier, and of course, how to eat well and still get to try all of the incredible foods that we find across the world, but still on a budget. The biggest challenge I found in Southeast Asia is soy sauce. Soy sauce is everywhere. And if it's not soy sauce, it's oyster sauce, which is also contains gluten. I found that soy sauce was like the hidden bomb, gluten bomb. It's found in everything. It's in fried rice, it's in noodles, it's in pad thai, it's in curries sometimes, it's in marinades, it's at the street food stalls, it's in restaurants, it's everywhere. And even dishes that might look gluten-free might not be because of the hidden soy sauce. I've discovered this when I was in Cambodia, when I really did believe that I was ordering something gluten-free. I think it was fried rice or noodles. And later that evening, I had stomach pains, stabbing pains. I wasn't in a good way. And the only thing I could think of was that there was soy sauce in the dish. There are some ways around this. Obviously, you can say to the person, no soy sauce, or you can ask if soy sauce is used as part of the ingredients. Quite often though, especially in street food stalls, they might not fully understand the concept of gluten-free, or they might not realize that soy sauce and oyster sauce have gluten. So it really helps to learn maybe a couple of phrases, a couple of words in the language of the country you're in to say, no soy sauce or no oyster sauce. I also want to just highlight the issue of street food and sometimes restaurant food in countries where these ingredients are very, very common. I have met people with various allergies like fish allergies and nut allergies. And even though the vendor and the person cooking the food has said, no nuts, no fish, no gluten, okay, no problem, they're still using the same wok and utensils that they literally just were cooking with those ingredients. And there is that high risk of cross-contamination. So if you are celiac, if you have severe reactions to gluten or allergies to anything, it's really worth bearing in mind that there may be that risk of cross-contamination that you just can't avoid in some places, and you have to be extra careful. At the moment, we're in India, and India is surprisingly underrated as a gluten-free destination. But of course, there are a few traps. Across Asia, India, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Malaysia, wherever you are, rice is a staple, and rice is naturally gluten-free. Anything made with rice is usually okay. Obviously, again, it depends on the other ingredients, but if it is rice and rice alone, you have no problems. In India, I am loving the fact that lots of the breads are actually not made from wheat. So things like dosa, which are delicious, and are also, as a little bonus, are fermented and so are high in probiotics, are actually made from fermented rice and lentils. If you order a thali, obviously you don't have to have the bread that comes with it. You can just have the rice, and it comes with all the different dishes that you can try. Of course, curries are gluten-free usually. Dal, as always, so chickpeas, lentils are everywhere, vegetable curries. And then there's all the chickpea flour breads, also called besan in India. So if you find some bread that is made of besan, chickpea flour, gluten-free, go for it. Some of the things to avoid if you are in India are obviously naans, chapatis, rotis, all the really delicious breads, but they're made of wheat. Obviously anything breaded, so like coated in breadcrumbs. And a lot of the street snacks, which you find everywhere you go in India, are made of wheat flour. So the samosas and the bread kind of products that you see everywhere, unfortunately, they're a big no-no. If you are in India, a good tip is to say no wheat, no atta, rather than no gluten, because they will understand no wheat or atta, but maybe not gluten. Okay, Southeast Asia. What I managed to find in Southeast Asia that was gluten-free friendly. So in Thailand, some of the really easy gluten-free foods, obviously rice noodles are perfect. Dishes like pad thai are great, but as long as there's no soy sauce. Som tam, which is papaya salad. If you like a bit of spice, this is great, but obviously you can ask for everything non-spicy as well. So the salads are delicious. Any of the curries, the Thai curries are absolutely my favorite food in the world. So red curry, green curry, yellow curry, massaman curry, Penang curry, all fantastic. Double check with the soy sauce with the person who's cooking, but usually they should be okay. And then of course you've got sticky rice. You can have sticky rice and mango. Oh, the best pudding ever. And if you're out and about in Thailand, do try the night markets. Never be afraid to go to the food markets in Asia, because you can usually find things that are gluten-free without any problem. And of course, a lot of the vendors in these, especially the tourist ones, they speak good English, and you can say, please, no soy sauce, no oyster sauce, no gluten, or no wheat. And where things are often cooked very fresh, it's easy to request these things too. In Vietnam was my favorite place actually for gluten-free food, although there's also some delicious gluten food as well, which is hard to pass by. So the naturally gluten-free foods you'll find in Vietnam are things like pho, which is that soup, usually with rice noodles and some sort of meat in there. Again, double check about the soy sauce. Rice paper rolls, you can, get the prawn ones, chicken, vegetarian, tofu. They're naturally gluten-free. Be aware of marinades for meats. A lot of the meat obviously is marinated in different things. You can have things like satay, but it's got soy sauce in it. So just be aware of the different marinades, and that's across Southeast Asia. Obviously avoid the banh mi, which is the best. I had one when I went to Vietnam. I had to have one because they looked so good, and everyone was raving about them. I was like, I'll just try one. Big mistake. I regretted it instantly. Cambodia is another really, really easy place to be gluten-free, as long as you know where to look. There are tons of fresh herbs, again, rice noodles, grilled meat, vegetables. It's super healthy. And they do seem to use less soy sauce than, say, Thailand and Malaysia and other places. But they still do use the soy sauce, the oyster sauce. And again, it's kind of a hidden ingredient sometimes. So again, ask, be aware, and double check. Some of the gluten-free foods I ate on repeat in Cambodia were amok. Amok is a Cambodian curry, and it is absolutely delicious. You can get fish or chicken, amok, and it comes in like a banana leaf sort of bowl. Lok lak, which is like normally a beef or sometimes a vegetarian dish, but it normally comes with rice, and it is very, again, healthy and delicious. Like Vietnam, they have the fresh spring rolls. So spring rolls wrapped in rice paper. They're ideal, they're light, they're healthy, they're fresh, they're delicious. And then you can always get the sort of grilled fish, grilled vegetables, grilled meat. Just, as always, check the marinades. Like everywhere, just be aware of stir fries that normally contain some sort of soy sauce or oyster sauce. Maybe some of the marinades on barbecues, just double check their ingredients. And in Cambodia, you're better off saying no soy sauce rather than gluten-free. They understand that, no problem. And a little tip in Cambodia, stick to Khmer dishes, so local dishes, rather than westernized Asian dishes. The Khmer food doesn't always contain the soy and oyster sauces, but the westernized Asian food almost always will. Bali or Indonesia have some delicious gluten-free food. Again, it's another rice-based culture, so easy to find. Nasi Campur is naturally gluten-free, as is gado gado, which is always delicious. You can get things like grilled fish, grilled meats, tempeh, just as always, double check marinades. Be aware though, in Bali, they use a lot of kecap manis, which is like a sweet soy sauce, like a thicker, sweeter soy sauce. And then lastly, Malaysia. So Malaysia can be a little bit trickier because there's a lot of Chinese influence and they do tend to use a lot of soy sauces in their food. But things like nasi lemak, the usual grilled sort of fresh meats and fish, and maybe rather than going for the Chinese type of dishes, go for the Indian and the Muslim dishes because they tend to be more naturally gluten-free. So, for example, rice and curries. So, what I tend to eat in a typical day here in Asia, obviously it depends what country I'm in, but where we are slow traveling, we do tend to make sure we have, at the very least, a kettle and a fridge and a few bowls and plates and cutlery in our accommodation, because that way I can make breakfast. And just taking that meal out of the equation, first of all, it definitely reduces our food budget, but also it means I can control what I'm eating. So I tend to buy a big tub of yogurt. I get lots of fruit from the market. I get a packet of nuts, almonds, cashews, whatever nuts that are available. And that's breakfast, you know? Obviously, if you have cooking facilities, you can make an omelette or something. So there are lots of options if you have a kitchen, of course. Lunch tends to be something simple, maybe an omelette if I haven't had eggs for breakfast, maybe some dal and some rice. If I feel safe enough to have salad, I will always have a salad. I mean, I love my vegetables, I love salads, but often you have to be very careful in Asia with where you're buying a salad from. And then dinner can be much anything really. I mean, you know, if you can have some grilled meat, vegetables. I love having a paneer tikka here in India. That's one of my favorites. Obviously, you can have curries in any country you're in. Some fresh grilled seafood is absolutely delicious, but it doesn't have to be expensive. You can eat gluten-free without going to these, you know, expensive Western style restaurants all the time. If you're going to eat on a budget and stay somewhere long term like we are, it's definitely worth finding a really good local restaurant, street food stalls, rather than going and spending a fortune in Western style restaurants all the time. So it's a really good idea, if you like soy sauce, to carry a small bottle of gluten-free tamari with you wherever you go, just so that you can have that. Have Google Translate on your phone so that if you are concerned about cross-contamination or about what is in the food, you can just get Google Translate to do the hard work for you. When I travel, I tend to have like a list in my phone of foods that I know are going to be safe. So things that never have soy sauce, never have oyster sauce, never have gluten in them. When I go to eat, I have my list and I know what to look for on the menu. If you're not sure, or if you're traveling and you don't know what you're going to be doing or what you're going to be eating, just bring some snacks. I always carry a bag of nuts. And if you can take some fruit, that's always a good thing. Maybe some gluten-free crackers, whatever works for you, but just have something so you're not starving by the end of the day. And make sure you've got things like electrolytes and any medication that you need, and plenty of it, just in case you do get glutened. It's definitely a good idea, though, to have a few go-to phrases or words in the language of the country you're in, especially if you have an allergy or going to have a severe reaction to something. Gluten, fish, nuts, whatever it is, it's really worth doing this. So before you go or before you eat, have a few phrases and a few words that you can say to the person clearly, and you know that they are going to not put soy sauce, fish, oyster sauce, whatever in your food. Traveling Asia gluten-free is completely possible. You just need the right hat and to be a little bit prepared. If you want more real budget-friendly family travel tips, make sure to subscribe and follow us over on Instagram as well.